How to do a research project. Module 5, Designing a Survey. We are currently on Module 5, Designing a Survey. The learning objective for this module is to construct an effective survey that maximizes participant responses. The survey is a popular study design because many people erroneously think that it is easy to produce a quality survey and to execute research based upon survey responses. However, generating a survey that collects accurate data and provokes the most serviceable answers can be surprisingly difficult. Often, the questions on many surveys are too general or open-ended to garner useful answers, and attempting to send out a revised survey can cost time and end up with diminished responses if sending out a second survey is even a viable option in the first place. It is far better to design an effective survey from the start. Two key aspects of writing surveys are important to keep in mind when developing questions and plotting which populations will be queried. One is validity, and the other is response rate. First, when considering the validity of a survey, always search the literature to see if someone has developed a validated survey that addresses the research topic of the study. This not only may save a significant amount of time, but using a validated survey is also considered much more scientifically rigorous. If no surveys have already been generated for the topic of interest and a new survey must be created, word key questions a couple different ways and test the survey before widely circulating, i.e., do a pilot survey. To ensure the best response rate, survey questions should be written at about a 5th grade level in order to make the survey accessible to the widest population. It is worthwhile to have an associate in the Department of Sociology or Anthropology review survey questions to ensure that they are as effective as possible. The most important aspect to crafting good survey questions is to not ask open-ended questions. Individuals of a surveyed population will often give either the shortest possible answers that may avoid addressing the topic of the survey, or their answers may wander away from the topic in rambling responses. For the researcher, open-ended questions take longer to interpret and score than multiple-choice questions. When creating multiple-choice survey questions, the answer options provided are just as important as the questions. The lower the educational level of the respondents, the more carefully the possible answer options must be. Also, as a general note, several studies have shown that anonymous questionnaires that contain no identifying information are more likely to produce honest responses than those identifying the respondent. In general, effective surveys avoid open-ended answers, do not use scholarly or medical terms or abbreviations, do not use emotionally loaded or vaguely defined words, have questions which follow naturally from the previous question, ask for answers on only one dimension, accommodate as many potential answers as possible, have mutually exclusive options, attempt to not presuppose a certain state of affairs for respondents, do not imply bias or a desired answer, and produce a variety of responses. The next vital aspect of developing a good survey is carefully crafting the answer options for each question. There are several question types the researcher should consider in order to decide which may be most inclusive for the desired information. The first type of answer is a dichotomous scale. Yes, no, true, false, and agree, disagree questions fall into this category, and they can be useful because they do not allow respondents to give neutral answers. The second kind of answer is a rating scale that may include as many points as the researcher desires in order to have options for the respondents, i.e., a Likert scale. Another example of this would be a 7-point scale that includes very satisfied, moderately satisfied, slightly satisfied, neutral, slightly dissatisfied, moderately dissatisfied, and very dissatisfied options. This allows for more nuanced responses from the surveyed population. The third answer type is a semantic differential scale. This is generally considered a variety of the rating scale, except that it allows respondents to see their answers more visually. Differential scales have a pair or several pairs of opposite words and ask respondents to indicate with a mark how closely they relate to one word or the other on the spectrum between the two words. Each answer option offers a different nuance of reactions from the surveyed population, and the researcher must decide which responses will be most useful for their study. After a survey has successfully been developed, the next step is dissemination, and there are several ways to circulate a survey. Each method has its own set of advantages and disadvantages that should be taken into consideration before sending out a survey, which we will now discuss. When using physical copies, i.e. printed on paper, to circulate a survey, there are many advantages and disadvantages to consider. When circulating surveys in person, an advantage is that having a personal connection to respondents can increase the likelihood of survey completion and return. However, a disadvantage is that this method generally requires either more work on the part of the researcher or more personnel to help spread the survey. It also requires someone to manually enter or code the responses and data, which can increase data entry inaccuracy. When circulating surveys by mail, an advantage is that this method can not only reach a wider audience, but can also make some respondents feel more comfortable answering sensitive questions more privately. A disadvantage, however, is that mailing surveys takes time and, more importantly, money. This way also requires manual data entry once surveys are returned, which can increase data entry inaccuracy. When digitally circulating a survey, there are also many advantages and disadvantages to consider. When circulating a survey via the internet, an advantage is that a digital survey can be designed to not allow respondents to progress to the end of the survey until they answer all the questions. Also, this method can be significantly cheaper than printing and mailing surveys, and, since the data is already electronic, there is no manual coding required. A disadvantage, however, is that detecting whether the same people are responding more than once to the survey can be difficult online, depending on the survey software used. When circulating a survey via an electronic device such as a tablet or laptop, an advantage is that, as with the internet survey, data is already in an electronic form and requires no manual coding. This method shares many of the internet survey's other benefits as well. Additionally, this type of survey can be designed to be more intelligent and dynamic. A disadvantage, however, is the cost of the computer or tablet, which may exponentially increase if any of the recipients damage the survey equipment. Getting a high response rate is crucial for a successful survey, and there are several ways to go about providing motivation for respondents to complete and return surveys. One way is to offer an incentive of some kind to the respondents, although this should be handled with care. When offering an incentive, be aware of the study budget as well as the size of the potential respondent population. If offering an incentive is not an option, another strategy for increasing response rate is to use a captive audience. Offering the survey as a follow-up to a presentation or as part of a checkout procedure in a clinic is an effective way to acquire survey participants. No matter which methods are used to encourage responses, it is crucial to have a strategy for targeting non-responders. The following strategies can be used to increase survey response rates. 1. Choose a reliable delivery method. This advice may seem simplistic, but a straightforward method to encourage participation is to ensure that surveys reach the desired population in a timely manner. 2. Craft a well-designed, attractive survey. Small text and too many questions crammed onto a page can immediately discourage respondents. 3. Include a personalized greeting on the survey form. While there may be a limit to how much a survey can be personalized for each population, a short greeting or indication of why certain individuals have been chosen for the survey can impress the importance of the survey on respondents. 4. Make the survey easy to fill out. This step is easy to overlook but is crucial for high response rates. While this may depend on the population being queried, a survey that takes 15 minutes or longer to complete is often considered too lengthy. Distill questions to those that focus best on the information needed to reduce the survey length. 5. Make the survey anonymous. Depending on the survey's content and what information is being gathered, an anonymous survey may encourage more responses, since participants feel that their privacy is being protected. And 6. Contact participants more than once. Most people are extremely busy. Sending participants a notification before sending out the survey can help keep them from ignoring the survey once it is sent. Then, if they still do not respond, following up with another message that includes the survey to remind them about the study is a polite but insistent way to encourage responses. The next section in this course is Module 6, The Anatomy of a Research Paper. The learning objective for this module is to describe the characteristics of an effective research paper.